Troglodyte warning. Today I want to talk about the fascinating case of Luigi Mangione and the brutal murder of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And I really want to start by emphasizing I condemn any violence. This isn't how we solve problems in a democracy, and any vigilantism must be condemned, absolutely. And my focus on this video is going to be on the public reaction, the public perception of this guy, and the media reaction and the disparity between the two. So let's summarize ourselves with a case and then get straight into the discussion.
From the moment the suspect let his mask down to smile at a receptionist and look straight into the camera of a New York taxi, it was only a matter of time before he would be spotted and arrested, unmasked as Luigi Mangione.
And they were incredibly quick, because when someone at the top, a CEO in this case, is murdered, a homeless person, they wouldn't give a shit, the police. But they have put everything in this. And the police budget of New York is literally half of the public expenditure. So they went for him quick. They would have put everyone on it. Everyone would have been on overtime, looking through CCTV. They got him quick because he represents the establishment, the status quo, and you don't do stuff like this to CEOs.
The 26-year-old who was last night arrested and charged with murder after being on the run from police since the deadly shooting of a health insurance boss who was gunned down outside a hotel in Manhattan 6 days ago.
Congratulations. Thank you.
How did it come to this for the boy who was top of his class at an elite school in Maryland, who went to an Ivy League college and whose Facebook page reveals an athletic young man who loved to travel and had lots of friends, that he would somehow allegedly morph into a cold-blooded killer?
And the media can't comprehend the idea, again, the narrative, it doesn't fit within the narrative. The idea of a wealthy, Ivy League, educated, handsome guy would kind of do this radical act of killing a CEO. Usually it's a freak loser who lives in their mum's basement. The media are terrified by this, and rightly so, because he's a folk hero now. And it's because he's handsome. You can't ignore that. People like educated, handsome people who, look good. But also people are sick and tired of the status quo, the establishment, and the healthcare system in America, which is insanely unjust. It's one of the worst, one of the most expensive, and has some of the worst results. So people are sick and tired of the status quo.
You think a lot of people who commit such heinous crimes, they're often outcasts or something like that. This was not the case with him. He had a lot of friends. He was very smart, had a lot going for him. He was everything you would want in a high school student. It's just so weird to see him go that direction.
Well, we don't know. Some of the most popular people can have friends, but also feel like outcasts. Who doesn't feel like an outcast? Who doesn't feel misunderstood by the system? So I don't think these are two separate things necessarily.
Last Wednesday morning that the suspect, Mangione, allegedly gunned down the healthcare boss, Brian Thompson, in Midtown Manhattan, then escaped via bicycle into Central Park, where he ditched his backpack and continued on in a taxi to a bus station. Then yesterday morning, he was spotted in a McDonald's in Altoona in Pennsylvania, about 277 miles away.
It's kind of insane how quickly they got him. Obviously, again, they're going to put everything in it. And to be 300 miles away and get him, apparently he was tipped off by a McDonald's employee. And although the $60,000 reward isn't going to be given, I think that's interesting, suspicious. I'm not a conspiratorial guy, but that seems interesting. But the fact that they know what this represents, the fact that that first image of him looking handsome, that handsome smile, and the public perception, people are angry at the system. People are celebrating this guy. And it's actually transcended left and right. You've got Tim Pool, condemning the guy. Joe Rogan a little bit, kind of saying it's a dirty, dirty game, but he wasn't absolutely condemning him. And he would have done 10 years ago. Joe Rogan would have said this guy's sick, and he would have been kind of representative of the view. Tim Pool, you've got Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. And they've got a lot of shit for it, for actually sticking up for this guy. But most people, it has transcended politics. People realize that people like this are making money of the heartbreak, bankruptcy, pain, and death of millions of people across the United States.
Photos show him eating inside the restaurant before being arrested with a gun, similar to the one used in the murder, a fake ID, and a manifesto that railed against the health insurance industry, including reportedly the words.
And again, it's not typical because usually you have these long, sprawling manifestos that are kind of just incoherent, but it's very short and concise. And it's interesting, the New York Times, considered a liberal paper, it's not, it's owned by wealthy interests, I've said not to use this guy's photo because they know he's loved, he's liked. He's a hero to the working class, people who can't afford healthcare, who literally are getting into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And it just shows you people are sick of the status quo and they will jump onto an anti-establishment narrative. That's why Trump won, essentially, because he rails against the anti-establishment. He is de facto a part of the establishment, but he's good at telling that story. The same with Nigel Farage, privately educated, millionaire, in the pockets of wealthy people, but he sells himself as anti-establishment. Also, we recently found out Donald Trump has admitted that he is unable to lower grocery prices. A promise he made, he can't deliver because he is part of the establishment. He's a billionaire. Why would he lower the profits of corporations? He's not going to do that. And the people believed it. People believe what he says. No, he's not anti-establishment. He is the establishment.
These parasites had it coming. The backlash against health firms has been echoed online ever since Mangione allegedly gunned down Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare boss, given his company is one of the worst when it comes to reimbursing people for their medical care, or even denying them coverage for their care in the first place.
Often, if you've got a pre-existing condition, you can't even get coverage. So typically, younger people are on their parents' healthcare until 26 or so. Trying to get healthcare after that, if you've got, diabetes, asthma, it's impossible because they don't care. It's all about profit. And we take it for granted in the UK. We've got the National Health Service, which 14 years ago was amazing. It was considered the gold standard across the world. It's been undermined, underfunded over the last 14 years. But we take it for granted the fact that we get cancer. We'll get pretty much... I knew someone 2 weeks they had surgery within realizing they had the diagnosis. In America, I'm sorry, you're done. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So people are angry. And it's these kind of folk, it's a folk tale. It's a folk hero story. It's like Robin Hood, and it captures the imagination. And that's what the left need to learn from. Obviously not vigilantism, but anti-establishment narratives, populism. Again, Bernie Sanders.
Place. And since his arrest, TikTokers have unleashed a volley of vitriol against the McDonald's employee, labelling him the McSnitch who turned Mangione in.
Shame on that Mick employee. How are you going to call the police on a hero, America's national treasure?
I feel sorry for this McDonald's employee. I truly do, because they're going to get a lot of shit. And, we could argue they're doing the right thing. I'd probably do the same. I'd be like, there's that guy. But I also understand the frustration, the fact that people have snitched on him. I mean, he was going to be found. They had every resource. They would have been pumping tens of millions of dollars on it. He would have been found pretty quick. But I understand the upset massively. It's tapped into dissatisfaction with the status quo. And again, is there hope for the future from this? Maybe not. Maybe it's a blip, but I think it's a fascinating case study.
For shame.
Police haven't said what Mangione's motivation was, but he'd posted this x-ray of his spine on
Nasty.
X, and a former roommate said he'd struggled with severe back pain.
He confirmed that he had surgery, and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into
operations like that, like dissatisfaction of stuff like knee surgery is high. And, the spine, you don't fuck with that shit. It's kind of... you can understand the pain people go through, and having a massive operation like that, it's life changing. And if it, dissatisfaction levels are pretty high on massive surgeries like that.
to his spine.
So was Mangione denied care for his treatment? We simply don't know. We do know his family was wealthy and owned multiple businesses, yet his mother apparently reported him as a missing person to police on November the 18th. In a statement last night, the family said it was shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest and offered its prayers to the family of Brian Thompson. Within the last hour, Mangione wrestled with police as he was led into court for an extradition hearing to New York.
And completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and to their experience.
The scene of a murder that so captivated America and ignited a ferocious debate about its much despised healthcare industry.
So, I think it says a lot about our times. The dissatisfaction with the status quo, the need for anti-establishment protagonists. Donald Trump is one. This guy is another. From the other end, people are sick and tired. They're angry. They're dissatisfied. Their living standards are going down. And things are going to get worse before they get better. So, comment below. Is this guy a folk hero, or is he just a criminal, a murderer who needs to be put to the death sentence? Is he just, is this the wrong way to go about it? Comment below. Is violence the answer? I don't think it is, but there's a reason why he's popular. So comment below, and I'll see you in the next video.